Tonight, king tides, big waves, and strong winds are creating quite a scene along the San Diego coastline. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee. We have team coverage on the current conditions, starting with our Shannon Handy, who joins us live from Mission Beach. Shannon?
Yeah, Marcella, right now it is cold and windy, but we're not seeing those high tides. That's because low tide hit just about an hour ago. But earlier, when it was the highest tide of the day, we did see water hit the boardwalk here. And then right now, as you can see, it's all the way out there as we are in low tide. Now, when it was high tide earlier, we saw water seep through the drain holes here on the boardwalk. Elsewhere along the coast, it created some minor flooding on public streets.
You usually only see them a few times a year in San Diego. King tides occur when a new or full moon is closest to the Earth. They make for not only very high tides, but extremely low ones as well.
I've heard that this happens, but I've never seen it personally, so I was like, let's go see it.
Magda Santiago and her family were among several people who came to check out the king tides in Mission Beach. At its highest point this morning, waves hit the wall just shy of going over, though some of the water did seep through onto the boardwalk.
I haven't seen it, so it's something new for us. I mean, for me, but it's nice.
Over in Ocean Beach, there was added background music to Mother Nature's show. Aside from the king tides, there are pretty big waves too. A high surf advisory is in effect through tonight. We saw them pounding the OB pier and crashing up against the rocks as people stopped to observe. This woman was so mesmerized she used her phone so those elsewhere could watch as well.
Right now, I am actually live on TikTok showing everybody what it's like out here at OB, watching these big waves hitting underneath that pier. It's awesome.
It was a similar scene up and down our coast, including along Sunset Cliffs. No major flooding issues were reported, but water did wash up onto the street in Imperial Beach south of the pier. In addition to the high tide and big waves, it was also windy. A wind advisory was in effect earlier in the day. Gusts were so strong, light posts were swaying back and forth. Back in the water, while most people kept their distance, others did not. We saw a sailboat braving the conditions. Live on our air this morning, this swimmer took a dip before quickly getting out. And in OB, this surfer ran right in and stayed there despite the not so ideal conditions.
And lifeguards are advising people to stay out of the water. For the most part, people are adhering to that advice, except for those two that I showed you on that video. Now, I also mentioned the extremely low tide, which we're seeing at this hour. This is a great time to check out our local tide pools. This is when you might see some pretty cool creatures out there. Now, for more on these conditions and how long they'll stick around, let's head over to Carlene Chavis. Hi, Carlene.
Hey, Shannon. Yeah, we are still talking about the big surf right along our coastline, and so we're going to see that high surf advisory go all the way until 6 p.m. for tonight. The surf doesn't look to subside until this weekend. So with that high surf advisory, we had sets up to about 8 feet earlier today. As Shannon mentioned, some people did decide to brave it, but we did have some dangerous swimming conditions out there as strong rip currents were also present. So that will subside at 6 p.m., but we're still dealing with king tides through tomorrow. And so minor coastal flooding will continue. And that high tide for tomorrow morning will be at 6.7 feet at 1 minute before 9. So likely flooding before and after that time frame. And as mentioned, in the afternoon hours, you also have those extra low tides, and a great time to check out our tide pools. But just be careful if you're going to be out there along the coastline tomorrow morning. We'll go ahead and take a look at your complete forecast because we got more cold air coming up. Marcella.
Thanks, Carlene. And don't forget, you can get the latest forecast and have weather alerts